Your Majesty, I'm not really good in protocol, so I'm not so sure I can recognize all the dignitaries here. But this morning, I think the most important dignitaries are the inmates. Good morning. I wasn't sure whether I would be able to speak today because this month, as it is of celebration, our family, the Mandela family, are still shaken. We are still very fragile. It has been very difficult weeks of the beginning of this month, and you will understand that more than celebrating Mama's life, what rests for the family is how to adjust to a life without her permanent presence. And this is not easy, it's not going to be easy. So when Caroline asked me, I said, okay, I'll see whether I'm strong enough to stand in public. I'm not so sure. I was encouraged then to come up here. After what I have listened to, after what I have learned of the work which the correctional services are doing. And it occurred to me to start with a sentence Madiba once said, "It seems impossible until it is done." I was a witness of the emerging of the idea of the 67 blankets. We were at Doe's and Caroline's place in Shambhala, and I'm sure Caroline can tell the story better than myself. But it started only from one idea. And from this idea, it was planted in the heart of Caroline. And Caroline, with such creativity, which I don't think I can describe, she transformed this idea into something which I would say today, from our continent of Africa, from the Indian and Atlantic Ocean, which embrace our country, emerged an immense ocean which is touching the shores of Australia, of Americas, of Asia, of Europe. Those continents united around a very simple idea of knitting blankets. Knitting and blankets. This has united continents through a huge ocean of love, of solidarity, but with such a simplicity. Two things I want to say. You don't have to be in a very high position to make a difference into the lives of people. Love can reside, and it resides in the heart of every single human being. And if you extend your love to touch other people, then you make an immense difference. So we thank all the thousands and perhaps millions of people who have extended their love through knitting, in solidarity, embracing also the hundreds of thousands of our people who do not have much, but to which a blanket is going to make a huge difference. And I want to ask you all to applaud every single person who has participated in this huge manifestation of love and solidarity. Our country, our nation is still grappling with lots of challenges. Amongst them is how do we deal with recognizing that the race is something which is a fiction in our minds. It doesn't make people different. The lady who started this movement is a white person, Caroline. She started a movement around which black and white, men and women, rich and poor, living in any corner of this country, brought together the hearts of people with love and solidarity. It shows that the barriers of race can be broken through the love in our hearts. I want also to say this. We are a country which is grappling with inequality. But it has been shown through this project that you can bring people who have resources, who have contributed, by the way, with the wool for the blankets to be knitted. But we also had children. We had go-go's. We had people living with disability, including blind people participating in this. You had schools. You have housewives. You have all kinds of people who have been participating in this project. They broke also the barriers of inequality. They were rich and poor, as I mentioned. We can also contribute for those who have, and those who perhaps they don't have the material, but they have this profound love, and they put their creativity through, just as it was said here, stitch by stitch, reach out to hundreds and thousands of people and showing love, solidarity, and compassion. We are a country which is still struggling with issues of unemployment. But through this initiative, you can see these people are not employed, but they develop skills which can lead them one day to employ themselves, including the inmates who have participated in this program, who one day, when they go home, they can start a program through which they can make a living. It shows one idea. When it's developed with hearts, minds, compassion, it can make a huge difference to all of us. It's not only to those who are going to receive the blankets, but it makes a difference to anyone who has participated in this project, united. Now I want to end up saying, we celebrate Madiba's legacy. Madiba has taught us that it doesn't take a very complicated kind of initiative to love. And I think we are, as we grapple with challenges, we are inspired to say each one of us has to choose his or her way of making a difference. But we can make our country, as it has said here, to make it a safe country, to make it a country where everyone can have food on the table, to make a country in which every child can have a school, every sick person can be treated. We can. We are millions of South Africans with minds and hearts and hands to make a difference. This is the best way of living Madiba's legacy. It is not institutional. It can be personal. It is an appeal to every single one of us. I want to end saying the following. It doesn't take a very special person to be a hero. And it doesn't take only to do it through the big institutions we think of. Madiba made a difference through the struggle within a political party. Mama Winnie, she became a hero through participation in our freedom through a political party. Caroline, I do not know whether she has a political party. It doesn't matter. But she is a very clear example of legacy and heroism which comes simply from people who are dedicated. These are the new heroes of our struggle today. The struggle against racism, the struggle against inequality, the struggle against unemployment. These are the kind of heroes our society is looking for. As we celebrate, we have to more and more encourage, I would use hundreds and thousands of Carolines, examples like this, to really say, in our challenges of today, which are not the challenges of liberation struggle or the freedom, it's a freedom for all this. So we need to celebrate them, but also to encourage that we will have, perhaps amongst some of the inmates who have come here, new heroes against these challenges of today. We will be celebrating on the 18th of July what would be 100 years of Madiba's birth. Let's find and identify 100 this year. But perhaps next year, add 100 and add hundreds of South Africans who can and we look up to and we say they stand on the shoulders of Nelson Mandela. They stand on the shoulders of Winnie Mandela. They stand on the shoulders of Walter Sisulu. They stand on the shoulders of Lillian Ngoyi, of all those we look up in the past, but let's build the heroes of today and tomorrow amongst those who are embodying, who live the values which these heroes of the past, they represent, and let's have hundreds and hundreds every year, other hundreds of heroes which we can look up to and say, as I started, it seems impossible until it is done. Thank you so much.